So good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to thank, first of all, the Agro Cluster from Ribatejo, Portugal, for the invitation for me to be here, closing this first day of your very interesting annual meeting from the PIC network. I'd like to emphasize the importance of the kind of agreements that have just been signed for the development of Portugal and the development of Europe. Last week I've been in the Competitiveness Council in Brussels, and this is the kind of activities of cooperation among European countries and countries outside of Europe and the Union 27 that we need to foster in order to develop our economy and make the European economy a more competitive one that will allow Europe to pass this moment, which is not positive at all in general terms. It's also important to emphasize the need for cooperation in these fields where technology, innovation can make a difference, even in sectors that in many cases are not considered by the general or by our citizens as areas where innovation happens. In reality, in these areas of plants, of agriculture, in agro-industrial areas, innovation is key to develop our economy and to create value to our countries. It's also important to emphasize that the Portuguese government is putting a lot of focus in these initiatives around the national clusters. We are doing a work to reform what we have today in terms of national clusters and ensure that the new clusters, or what are the clusters that will arise from this reform, will be focused in innovation, but mostly focusing on the impact that they can generate in our economy by growing the exports, by growing job creation, by allowing and fostering the innovation. And summing up, what the focus is to ensure that the Portuguese clusters, have real economic impact in the Portuguese economy towards a more competitive economy, which is what our country needs. Certainly, I'd like also to thank this event from planned intercluster meeting to be held here in Portugal, and our French friends to do this organization this year in Portugal with Agro Cluster. And I'm sure that this is an initial stage of cooperation that will be very fruitful for both entities, the Agro Cluster and the national clusters in the agro sector, but as well for the French clusters that are here today. And I think that this is also a call for action from the other clusters here in the room from several other countries to establish mutual or multi-beneficial agreements in order to foster these kind of relationships in this arena. For Portugal and in the sector of agriculture, agro-industrial, in these industries connected to this arena, there's a will from the government and the strategy to reindustrialize the country. In the past several years, the focus of the policies have been around the third sector, but we believe that agriculture and the second sector are very important for the development of our economies, because they create products that are transactionable, products that can be sold outside of our countries, products that can enhance our economies, and of course, as well as a strategic. They are also a strategic element of our economies, because we all need to eat every day. We all need to use many of the products that you and your clusters develop in their strategies. So the day is long for you, so I don't want to bore you with what we are doing in terms of our policies for clusters. I think that you have had a long day already, and again, thank you for being here. These clusters and the national cluster policy is very important for our country in order to ensure that we really have impact in our economy, more jobs, more exports, and this is why we value these initiatives. Certainly, innovation, entrepreneurship in these clusters can also be one of the very positive side effects that we expect to get from these new clusters that will arise in Portugal in the coming months. So thank you very much, and hope that you enjoy Portugal and our sunny weather. Thank you very much.